The air in the room felt too thick, the pastel balloons and soft pink decorations suddenly suffocating. The chatter and laughter around me sounded hollow, like echoes from a world I didn't belong to. I stood near the gift table, my fingers wrapped tightly around the edges of a carefully wrapped box, nails pressing into the paper. Inside, the gift held everything. The truth I had uncovered, the evidence of lies and betrayal, the proof that would make them all remember me forever. At the center of the celebration, my sister Clara laughed, her hand resting on her pregnant belly as if nothing in the world had ever hurt her. She was radiant, completely unaware of the storm that had been brewing behind the smile she wore so effortlessly. Across the room, my husband Victor sat quietly, his polished smile failing to reach his eyes. He had been part of the wound that had shattered me months ago, a wound made worse by silence and betrayal. And then there were my parents, standing together, raising their glasses, toasting to a happy family occasion, blissfully ignoring the fact that they had chosen to protect Clara over me, covering up the truth that had torn my life apart. And then there was me, Sophia. Hollowed, furious, calculated, carrying a weight I had hidden for months but that now burned with a sharp clarity. Tonight, at her baby shower, surrounded by people celebrating a life built on lies, I had a gift. Not just a gift. A reminder. A reckoning. Because the moment they saw what I had brought, nothing would ever be the same. I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of every eye in the room, even if they didn't know yet what they were about to witness. My fingers tightened around the gift box, my knuckles whitening, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. "All right, everyone," I said, my voice steady, calm, but carrying a quiet authority that drew attention immediately. "I thought it would be nice to open a special gift now." Clara's laughter faltered slightly, just enough for me to notice. Victor's polite smile didn't reach his eyes. My parents exchanged subtle, guilty glances, suddenly aware that something was off. I placed the gift carefully on the table, making sure it was the center of attention. The shiny wrapping paper glittered under the soft lights, hiding the secret inside, the truth I had painstakingly collected piece by piece over months of heartache. Clara eagerly tore off the paper, her excitement palpable. She lifted the lid of the box and froze. Inside were photographs, messages, and documents, carefully arranged to show the full scope of betrayal. Every secret she had thought hidden. Every lie my parents had covered up. Every deceitful moment of Victor's that had destroyed my trust. The laughter that had filled the room vanished instantly. My parents' hands flew to their mouths. Victor shifted, uneasy, his composed mask starting to crack. And Clara, her face drained of color, lips parting in shock, unable to form a word. I let the silence stretch, letting the truth sink in like a weight they couldn't lift. "You thought everything could stay hidden," I said softly, looking each of them in the eyes. "But lies have a way of coming to light." Her father slumped back into his chair, stunned. "Sophia, he tried, but I held up a hand. "No, you don't get to explain," I said, calm and icy. "Not now. Not ever. This is your reminder." Clara finally whispered, trembling. I didn't think." "I know," I said, voice firm, cutting through the tension. "That's the problem." And in that room, amid pastel balloons and forced smiles, the truth finally spoke louder than any lie ever could. The room felt smaller now, as if the walls had closed in to watch them squirm. My parents' carefully practiced smiles had disappeared, replaced by pale, guilty faces. Victor's polite calm had crumbled. He shifted in his seat, no longer sure how to act. And Clara was frozen, her hands trembling over her baby bump, every ounce of her arrogance gone. I stepped closer to the table, my heels clicking softly on the floor. "You all thought you could hide the truth," I said, my voice steady, carrying over the stunned silence. "You thought your lies would protect each other, that I would never find out, that I would forgive without proof." Her mother finally whispered, shaky, "Sophia, we only wanted to protect her." I tilted my head slowly, letting the words hang. Protect her? By betraying me? By letting her sleep with the man I trusted most? That's not protection. That's complicity. Victor opened his mouth, but I silenced him with a look. "Save your excuses. The truth is right here," I said, pointing to the gift box, still open, its contents spilling the full story. Every photo, every message, every hidden detail laid bare. Clara's eyes welled with tears, but it wasn't the innocent kind. These were tears of panic, guilt, and the realization that her carefully curated image had crumbled. I didn't mean, she stammered. You didn't mean? I repeated, voice low and cold. That's all I needed to hear. My parents exchanged a glance, the kind that says they knew they had failed, but it was too late. The moment had arrived. The facade had fallen. I straightened, my chest rising with controlled fury. Consider this your reminder, I said, glancing from my parents to Clara, then to Victor. Some gifts aren't for celebration. Some gifts are for remembering who you are, and what you've done. For the first time in months, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. The anger, the betrayal, the sleepless nights, it had all found a voice. And as the room sat in stunned silence, I knew this moment would be remembered forever. I stepped back from the table, letting the weight of the revelation settle over everyone like a cold shadow. Clara's face was pale, trembling, no words coming out, her perfect composure shattered. Victor's usual calm, polite demeanor had completely vanished, replaced by panic and guilt. And my parents, their carefully cultivated smiles had cracked, their silence louder than any apology could ever be. I picked up my gift box, now empty of surprises but full of meaning, and held it close to my chest. I hope this helps you remember, I said softly, but every word cut through the tension in the room. Not just tonight, but every time you think you can hide, deceive, or betray someone who trusted you. Clara finally found her voice, trembling. Sophia. I'm sorry. I shook my head slowly. Sorry doesn't undo months of betrayal. Sorry doesn't erase what you did. And sorry certainly doesn't fix what my parents tried to cover up. Victor opened his mouth to speak, but I ignored him. I didn't need to hear excuses. I didn't need to see guilt. I only needed to know that the truth had finally been delivered. I turned to my parents, eyes steady. You raised me to believe in family, loyalty, and trust, I said, my voice calm but cold. And yet you chose to protect her. Remember this. When you fail someone, the consequences always come back. Then I walked away. I walked away from the room filled with people who had laughed at me, lied to me, and betrayed me. I walked away from the sister who had stolen my trust. I walked away from the man who had broken my heart. And for the first time in months, I felt light. I felt free. Because the gift I had given wasn't just a box of evidence. It was a declaration. A reminder that betrayal can be exposed, that lies can be confronted, and that no one, not even family, can control the power of truth. From that day on, I knew one thing. I would never let anyone underestimate me again, and the memory of what they had done, and what I had shown them, would stay with them forever. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more powerful stories.